Donald Trump just had a late night meltdown on Fox in an interview with Laura Ingraham, and even MAGA is absolutely pissed at a lot of the things that Donald Trump was saying here. So Donald Trump said that the entire SNAP program was fraudulent and places the United States in jeopardy. Donald Trump said that the United States needs to take 600,000 students in from China to study at universities here in the United States. He says that's the ultimate way to be America first, by bringing in the Chinese students. Donald Trump then continued to talk about how the ballroom was so necessary because he thought the East Wing was ugly. And then he walked around the Oval Office with Laura Ingraham and showed her all of the gold. And he goes, look how amazing this is. This is the most important thing right now, all of the gold in the Oval Office. Let me show you the receipts of what went down so you can judge this meltdown for yourself. Here, Donald Trump says the entire SNAP program, food stamps, puts our country in jeopardy. He says that SNAP is a threat to America. Here, play this clip.
So they're used for the people who really need them?
It's meant for people. And you know what it does is it really puts the country in jeopardy. People that need it have to get it. I'm all for it. But people that are able-bodied can do a job. They leave their job because they figure they can pick this up. It's easier. That's not the purpose of it.
He then goes on to talk about what his priorities are. Building a grand ballroom. He says the greatest ballroom in the world. It's one of his biggest priorities. And he said the East Wing was a bad site. And so we needed to demolish the whole thing. He thinks that's very important right now. And that's what Americans care about, he says. Here, play this clip.
Well, first of all, the East Wing was a beautiful little tiny structure that was built many years ago that was renovated and expanded and disbanded and columns ripped out. And it had nothing to do with the original building. It was a poor, sad site. And I could have built the ballroom around it, but it would not have been. We're building one of the greatest ballrooms in the world. By the way, zero money spent by the government, zero. The East Wing is being spent by private donors. And it's a $250, $300 million building. It's going to be the most beautiful anywhere in the world.
And he goes on to say that East Wing, it looked like hell, he said. Here, play this clip.
And I built a lot of them. You know that. You know a lot of them. This will be one of the greatest ballrooms in the world.
There was a report that Melania didn't love this idea. Is that true?
She loved her little tiny office. But you know what? She's very smart. In about one day, if you would ask her now, she says it's great. But just so you understand, the East Wing sounds good, right? It sounds good. But the East Wing, that building was renovated 20 times, including adding a floor to the top, which was terrible. It was out of common brick, little tiny windows. It looked like hell. It had nothing to do with the original building. And I didn't want to sacrifice a great ballroom for an okay ballroom by leaving it right smack in the middle.
Then he attacks California Governor Gavin Newsom. He calls Newsom a horrible governor. Seems like you're pretty scared there, Donald. Here, play this clip.
His fire stuff is out of control. The forests are burning down all over the place. And honestly, I always liked him, but he's a horrible governor. He's a horrible governor. If he ran the country like that, we would have an absolutely gonzo country. This country would be gone. The fact is,
then Donald Trump goes on to talk about how much he hates SNAP. He's like, it's gone from 7 billion to many times 7 billion. And the number is way too high for what it should be. Here, play this clip.
System. Take a look at some of the welfare things that we're talking about. They've doubled, tripled, and quadrupled since I left office.
SNAP benefits have
well, SNAP has gone from
high.
Like 7 billion to many times 7 billion. And, you know, people keep talking about SNAP, but SNAP is supposed to be if you're down and out, you really, really have. That's what the purpose of it. People are getting, they walk in and they get it automatically now. So the number is many times what it should be. It's disgraceful.
Can we change
You wouldn't have been able, I'll tell you what. This country would have been busted, 100% busted within 5 months into a new administration if I didn't win.
Can we reform SNAP and these benefits so they're used for the people who really need them?
It's meant for people. And you know what it does is it really puts the country at jeopardy. People that need it have to get it. I'm all for it. But people that are able-bodied can do a job. They leave their job because they figure they can pick this up. It's easier. That's not the purpose of it.
So then after trashing Snap and saying that it's wasteful, he then says, Laura, you want to see this, Laura? Look at all the gold. Then he walks around, look at all there's gold everywhere. Look how rich I am. Look at all of the gold. While he's ripping away healthcare from over 20 million Americans, while he's saying that Snap in general should go away, here's what he's doing in the Oval Office. Play this clip.
Another one thing with gold.
Why not
You can't imitate gold, real gold. There's no paint that imitates gold.
So these aren't like from Home Depot or something?
No, this is not Home Depot stuff.
No, not stuff you buy.
This is not Home Depot.
Well, next thing he's asked about is, doesn't it seem like we're too dependent on China based on the fact that they're able to not take in exports from our soybean farmers or just shut down the exports on their end to us of rare earth elements, REEs, and that could just like destroy our economy? And Trump's like, no, what we're dependent on is having a smart president, me. We're not dependent on China. It's really ridiculous. Here, play this clip.
Within 10 minutes, I got a call. We'd like to meet. And we settled it out. And we made a wonderful deal, great deal for our country. But we made a great deal. We would have had a closed country. We would have had a depression. The whole world would have had a depression.
Doesn't it show us that we're too dependent on China? It's not just on rare earths, sir. We're dependent on them for still pharmaceuticals, still key industrial components. The Journal did a huge piece, and they're fairly pro-China, but a very
it's all coming back,
piece.
Laura, because of tariffs. I'm charging them tariffs of 100% and 150% for pharmaceuticals. What's happening? The pharmaceutical companies are all back here building plants right now. That's part of the $20 trillion of money that's come in because of tariffs. And we're not dependent on China. We're dependent on having a smart president. If we have a smart president, we're going to have no trouble.
And Laura Ingraham says, well, what do you say to people who are anxious about the economy? And Donald Trump says those are all based on fake polls. Let's play it.
We're down on energy. We're down on interest rate. Interest rates are down despite the Fed. Now, if we had a normal person at the Fed would have really low interest rates, and we will soon have that. We'll have somebody that's...
And why are people saying they're anxious about the economy? Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I think polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We will have over $20 trillion come into our economy, and it's largely because of my election, but it's also largely because of tariffs.
And then he goes on to say affordability in general is a con job. And so even Laura Ingraham's like, so are you saying that voters misperceive how they feel because they're actually living in a golden age, but they don't realize it? So that's why they feel bad because it's a con job and that you've actually defeated inflation? Play this clip.
The economy was listed as a top concern. I know you know this, for voters in New Jersey, New York, Virginia. And I've been all over the affordability issue today and for the last several months. Eggs, gas, dinner costs for Thanksgiving way down. But other things, as you noted, have gone up. Beef, coffee,
but they're going to come
auto
down
repairs.
Very shortly.
Is this a voter perception issue of the economy, or is there more that needs to be done by Republicans on Capitol Hill or done in terms of policy?
More than anything else, it's a con job by the Democrats. They're saying, they just have to say, they put out something, say today costs are up. They feed it to the anchors of ABC, CBS, and NBC, and a lot of other, and CNN, and et cetera. And it's like a standard. I'll never forget, they had used a word like manufactured. Do you remember the word manufactured? It's a manufactured economy. Nobody uses that word. Every anchor broke the manufactured. They do exactly what they say. It's such a rigged system. So are you ready? Costs are way down. Gasoline is going to be hitting $2 pretty soon, or around $2. Gasoline is at $2.70 now, and it was at $4.50 under Biden, under Sleepy Joe. When gasoline comes down, when energy comes down, and everybody agrees energy's down, we're drill baby drill. We're going like wild. We produce more gasoline, oil and gas in the last month than we ever have before, by far. And we're going to also end up filling up the national strategic reserves, which were taken out by Biden in order to try and win an election. Didn't work out too well. They tapped in. That's supposed to be for war, for national emergency, not to get...
So you're saying that voters are misperceiving how they feel? Or
so when I took over, you remember?
Because you said Biden did that too, because he was saying things were great, but things weren't great.
It's synonymous, Biden and Kamala, because you didn't know who the hell was campaigning. I mean, it got to a point. So I was up by 20 points on Biden or some crazy number. And they said, all right, let's get him out. We'll put a new one. This never happened to anybody. All of a sudden, I have somebody new. And they had the 6-week honeymoon, which was standard in the world of politics. You get a little honeymoon. And she had her little honeymoon, but then eventually people got to know her too. And then they had the 60 Minutes catastrophe where they, changed her answer.
Housing costs are...
I know I shouldn't have to fact check it because I think we all know he's lying, but we all know just by common sense, inflation is surging. We have the most job losses since the Great Recession, over 1 million job losses. We're in recessionary territory in many sectors of our economy. Things are bad in the United States. And the only people who's getting rich is Donald Trump and his family. Laura Ingraham then says, well, do you think a 50-year mortgage is a really good idea? And Trump's like, whatever, you go from 40 to 50. There's no such thing as a 40-year mortgage. Here, play this clip.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time home buyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question, though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So a significant MAGA backlash, calling it a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years. And what it means is you pay something less from 30 that some people had a 40 and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem was that Biden did this. He increased the interest rates. And I have a lousy Fed person who's going to be gone in a few months.
Then Donald Trump says, what I want to do is get rid of insurance in general, but we'll give people a check. And that'll go into their bank accounts and we'll call it Trump Care. And then we'll get rid of Obamacare and I'll give people like $2,000 and that'll cover all their health insurance. Okay, that's not going to cover their health insurance. What happens when they require a surgery or a procedure? You're just going to give them $2,000? You think that that's the way insurance works and you're going to get rid of the concept of insurance? What the hell are you talking about? Here, play this clip.
And I'm not just talking about recently. I'm talking about for years they've been going up. And he said, premiums will go down. Everything will be wonderful. It's horrible health insurance at a very high price. And what I want, and probably what you're alluding to, is the fact that I want, instead of going to the insurance companies, I want the money to go into an account for people where the people buy their own health insurance. It's so good. The insurance will be better. It'll cost less. Everybody's going to be happy. They're going to feel like entrepreneurs. They're actually able to go out and negotiate their own health insurance. And they can use it only for that reason. That's the beauty, only for that purpose. And if we did that, that would be so exciting. Call it Trump Care, call it whatever you want to call it, but anything but Obamacare. Obamacare is a disaster, just like he was as a president.
Then Donald Trump says, I'm going to pay all the air traffic controllers who didn't leave when they weren't getting paid $10,000. And I'm very mad at the air traffic controllers who did not work while we were not paying him. And Ingram's like, where are you going to get the money from? He's like, I don't know. I don't know where the money's coming from. I'm just making this all up. Play this clip.
Out a Truth Social post earlier today.
I did.
Where you blasted the air traffic controllers who had not shown up for work and offered potentially a bonus of $10,000 for those who have worked despite the shutdown. Are you worried that given the fact that we have a deficit of air traffic controllers still, I know we're trying to change that might be a difficult
No, we don't
position.
have much of a deficit, and we have a lot of people want the job. But I was not happy when I saw all these people. Oh, we have to look. Life is not so easy for anybody. Our country's never done better. We should not have had people leaving their jobs. And what I basically did is say the ones that stayed, of which there were a lot of them, I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I always get the money from someplace regardless. It doesn't matter. I do a lot of bonuses for people because it's really something that it's like the American way when you think about it. So here's somebody that goes and shows up every single day. Some of them showed up early because they knew there was going to be a problem. Those people should be rewarded. Others, we can't make it. We can't. A lot of the people that showed up also had a second job. They took a second job temporarily, but they all know the money's coming, and the money was coming. So I want to reward the people that showed up without a lot of nonsense, without a lot of talk. They did their job. And in many cases, they worked longer hours to get us through this period.
When can we?
Trump then is shocked at the word magnets, that this is a word. Here, play this clip.
But it's so, President Xi was willing to do the rare earth thing, that's magnets. Now, nobody knows what a magnet is. If you don't have a magnet, you don't make a car. You don't make a computer. You don't make televisions and radios and all the other things. You don't make anything. It's a 30-year effort to monopolize a very important thing. Now, within 2 years, we'll have magnets, all the magnets we want, but we don't. Because of tariffs, I called. I said, listen, here's the story. You're going to play the magnet. I'm going to play the tariff on you. And for national security purposes, I raised the tariff by 100% over and above what they were paying, which was 55. So he was at 155%. Within 10 minutes, I got a call. We'd like to meet. And we settled it out. And we made a wonderful deal, great deal for our country.
And here, Donald Trump is, this is where Donald Trump says that he really wants that the best way to be America first is bringing in 600,000 Chinese students to replace American students in American universities. Here, play this clip.
Mess around with us, I can tell you that.
A lot of MAGA folks are not thrilled about this idea of hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States. We have about 350,000 Chinese. One point during COVID, you were going to, push to, get them out, but that was pulled back. You've said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Sure. Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have, China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans
you would have the
of the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities.
So we're dependent on China to keep our university system going?
But I think it's good to have, I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the world.
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our intellectual property.
What, do you think the French are better?
There you have it. Let me know what you think, folks. When I say meltdown, I mean it. I mean it. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks so much for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.